Dizzy Disney Story by Terrell Levon Lake. This is an imaginary story developed around the kindheartedness and profound determination of Princess Pocahontas. It is decorated with a collection of unique and diverse characters while using numerous Disney movie titles to build a story. Experience this hilariously cinematic vision of some of your favorite Disney characters as they all embark on an insightful journey together. I hope you enjoy it. Imagine Aladdin and Jasmine, wishing upon a star, while Jafar and the genie battle Simba and Scar. This war inside the Jungle Book ended so sadly that even Tarzan shed more tears than Nemo did when he lost his daddy. A Toy Story with very little glory was spirited away, written in Monsters Inc., while the real steel slowly rusts away. With so many true confessions that turned into a brink, it's true that even inside a bug's life it's hard for Cinderella to tink. And to be honest, I'm not even sure if Pocahontas could destroy both the Beauty and the Beast. She probably would have to have an atomic bomb attached to the arms of Mulan in order to make a breach, or in a word, she would have to be brave, especially if the Lion King was in her way. Nonetheless, into the woods we left. All the way through the frozen and tangled Oz, we managed to encounter another mirage, so we decided to take a closer look. John Carter insisted it would be a Maleficent idea. Unfortunately, it turned out to be a giant Wally. I would wreck it, Ralph said Hercules, but lately I've been on my cool runnings and I know this is already becoming an extremely goofy movie, so just consider us the rescuers down under, for it's almost impossible for us to move up any further. The Little Mermaid then said, "You think you're such a big hero, Six, but we never would have gotten this far if it weren't for Lilo and Stitch. Anyways, we need to get out of here so we can meet the Robinsons. They are the only ones that know the Emperor's new groove, so we should just all bolt. Plus, I heard Ratatouille is making Chicken Little, and I know how Fantasia and her brother Bear wouldn't care to leave an extra seat, but as hungry as I am, I'll eat James and his giant peach." Before long, the group finally realized that they were unable to pass through the dreadfully enormous Wally. As a result, it seemed they were all forced to return to Neverland. Suddenly, the princess and the frog then shouted, "Wait, we know a shortcut." "Oh, and it's such an enchanted sanctuary," Princess Tiana expressed. "Remember the Titans? Mama Odie told us all about them. She said they even had angels in the outfield soaring through the air." The Little Mermaid then impatiently asks, "So where is this underground path or whatever?" Tiana sighs and answers, "We must first cross the bridge to Terabithia. Once we're over that, we have to pass through the Chamber of Holes." Cinderella then asks, "Are you sure about this?" Annoyed, Princess Tiana looks at Cinderella and says, "Look, Mama Odie is never wrong about directions." Without delay, but still with an extremely exaggerated pace of endurance, the multitudes were finally homeward bound. At the time of their arrival, Mickey Mouse, Goofy, and Donald Duck were all in the middle of fixing Minnie Mouse's car when they all saw the mob approaching from afar. Mickey Mouse eagerly greets them and says to Pocahontas, "I guess wild hearts can't be broken. It's good to see you. You look Maleficent as always." "I'm flattered," she said, "but I don't know about that. I feel sort of inside out." "Well, I'm glad you guys all made it here in one piece. You must be exhausted. Come now. Everyone make yourselves at home, there's plenty of room for everyone. Dinner starts at dawn, so why don't you all get cleaned up and ready for the party?" In a short time, everyone managed to get ready without arguing with each other and things seemed to be going pleasantly. With the help of Baymax, Ratatouille managed to serve all the guests their food. There was music playing and drinks going around. The 7 dwarfs even helped to decorate the palace with such a warm embrace. Unfortunately, Frozone, and the Snow Queen Elsa, got into a huge ice battle right after Frozone told her that he could make a better ice sculpture than her. Quasimodo told them that they're both talented. That's when Elsa told them to be quiet and instantly froze them. Shortly, when things cooled down, Baymax talked some sense into Elsa and made Frozone apologize to Elsa for challenging her. Moments later, Mickey Mouse then calls out, "Dinner is ready everyone, come and eat." Instantly everyone starts rushing towards the table. Baymax said, "Please settle down and come have a seat. You don't want to cause injury." When Hercules heard that the food was ready, he ran so fast from outside he made the whole palace shake. As Hercules walks into the dining room, the Little Mermaid said, "You almost made me drop my plate, Hercules." Pocahontas said it's alright, he didn't mean it. "Now let's just try to get along. Doesn't this food look delicious, you guys?" Ariel then proceeds into taking her first bite of food. Pocahontas then interrupts her and says, "Ariel, what are you doing? Remember we say grace before we eat." She then looks at everyone else at the table and shakes her head. She quietly speaks and says, "Bambi, will you please be a dear and take you and Pete's dragon outside for a moment? We adults need to have a short meeting at the table." "Yes ma'am," Bambi replies. "Now. What's wrong with all of you? This ain't Zootopia. All you princesses need to start acting like princesses. Doing all this fussing and screaming in front of the children, you should all be ashamed of yourselves, and y'all know Mars needs moms." Even the bear in the big blue house overheard all the noise and came over. He began laughing with the others while shouting cheers. Pocahontas then says in her head, "Oh, and now they making toasts with Anastasia's brother bear too." Pocahontas said, "You guys make Lady and the Tramp sound true. After everything we've been through, this is not the way you guys. I'm just saying, why can't we be more like the Proud Family?" That's when Winnie the Pooh said, "Well, that's why I always say, you can't have your cake and eat it too." Pocahontas then said to him, "You could have eaten your cake if only you hadn't broken the brave little toaster Pooh." Robin Hood then stands up and says, "Pocahontas is right. We've all lost sight of what's important in life. This isn't recess, school's out, gentlemen." All excited and pumped up off adrenaline, Robin Hood then storms out into the wild while shouting, "Who's coming with me? Ha ha ha." The Little Mermaid said, "See here, now my food is getting cold from all these extra speeches." Y'all know Robin Hood is sort of Dumbo. "Yeah, and word on the street is, I heard he's the one who stole those 101 Dalmatians too," Pinocchio added. That's when Old Yeller said, "For real? Who invited him anyway?" Ratatouille pacifically said, "It's just going to be me, Oliver and company at this party." Pocahontas then yells, "Enough, everyone sit down and please be quiet. Let's just say grace and afterward, I'll tell you all a story, how's that?" Pocahontas finally managed to calm the multitude of Disney characters down. Now at the dinner table, they're all quietly sitting amongst each other ready to feast and listen to Pocahontas' story. Long ago, in the time of Tomorrowland, right before Alexander and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, ended up becoming a rather good day. Well, it turned out, the good dinosaur was just having a bad hair day. In the midst of all his usual rage and frustration, he thought to himself, perhaps a nice day in the spring shower would help my hair. While styling and grooming himself, a very small fish greets him. Her name was Ponyo. She told him that his hair was very nice. The good dinosaur, however, was not in the mood for friends, so he instantly splashed and roared at her and told her, "Get your own shower," completely oblivious to what he has done. The good dinosaur accidentally splashed Ponyo out of the water. She cried out to him for minutes, but the good dinosaur was so concerned about his hair, he couldn't hear Ponyo screaming. Moments later, he finally found the style he wanted. He then calls out to Ponyo, bragging, saying, "My hair is the best in all of Tomorrowland. Isn't that right? Isn't it?" But as soon as the good dinosaur turned around, he sees Ponyo lying there motionless. He panics and yelps, "Oh no! What have I done?" As fast as he could, he gently picks her up and places her back in the water. Heartbreakingly, the good dinosaur didn't turn around in time, and it was already too late. He cried for hours as he sat there holding Ponyo in his arms. Just before the sun was setting, the good dinosaur heard a voice coming from the still waters. Suddenly a small voice whispered softly to him, saying, "'Twas the night as gentle as sight, a life for such beauty would make this alright." The good dinosaur said, "What does that mean? Who are you?" The mystical creature responded, saying, "I am here and I have seen what has happened." The good dinosaur pleaded, saying, "I'm so sorry, it's all my fault. I didn't know, please forgive me." The mystical creature looked at the good dinosaur and asked, "What was her name?" While wiping his tears away, he answered, saying, "A bird flew by earlier and told me her name was Ponyo. She tried telling me her name, but I paid no attention to her. That's when I accidentally splashed her out of the water. I didn't mean it." The mystical creature then said, "I could give her life back, but you must first give me something in return." The good dinosaur responded in joy and happiness, saying, "Really? Okay, I'll give you anything you want, you name it and it's yours." The mystical creature said, "You must give me all of your hair and I shall restore Ponyo's life." "My hair?" "Yes, all of it." After hearing this, the good dinosaur became like his previous self and immediately said, "Absolutely no." The mystical creature then said, "But you told me to name it and it shall be mine." "Yes, I did, but I need my hair, it's all I have." The mystical creature simply stated, "You have taken everything from this poor fish, everything that matters anyway. Don't you want to save her?" "Well, yes, of course, it's just, I need my hair." It's so perfect and no one has hair like mine in Tomorrowland. I would be nothing without it. I mean, it even keeps me warm during winter. Without it, I could freeze to death." The mystical creature responded saying yes indeed, just as Ponyo needed water to live, but if you hadn't cared so much about your glamour, none of this would have happened. "Quickly, you must make your decision now before the sun fully sets. My power will only work at this time, and if we wait till tomorrow there will be nothing I can do for her. So what's it going to be? Are you truly the good dinosaur or are you only beautiful?" As Pocahontas wraps up the story, the Little Mermaid began to break out into tears. Mulan then gets up and walks over to her and kindly puts her arms around Ariel and said, "That's why we have to be patient and kind amongst each other, no matter what we're doing, okay? So let us all give thanks to Chef Ratatouille for preparing this delicious meal. And we should remember to wait for one another before just pigging out at the dinner table." "Oh, sorry Piglet. But y'all know what I'm trying to say." Ariel smiles and says, "Thanks Mulan, you've always had my back. I love you girl." Bambi then pokes his head back in and says, "That was such a wonderful story Pocahontas, but you never said if Ponyo ever got her life back or not." Pocahontas then kneels down in front of Bambi and softly says to him, "But you should already know the end to this story, really." "How?" Pocahontas then replied, "Because your mother is the one who told me this story long ago, and she also used to tell it to you every night when you were just a baby." Bambi then asked, "Does this story have a name?" She whispered to him and answered, "Yes, she called it the Dizzy Disney Story." "That's an amazing story," said Bambi. "It's one of my favorite stories that your mother told. She used to tell so many." Bambi smiles and then hugged Pocahontas. "Now, will you be a dear and help me tidy this kitchen up?" Baymax was gonna help out, but his battery needed charging. "Yes of course, I will help." "Great. Plus Cruella de Vil will be here in the morning, and you know how she is about all things unclean." "Yes ma'am," Bambi replies. "Thank you my dear, and when we're finished, I'll tell you another one of your mother's stories, how's that?" The end.